Hi, my name's Shane. I use she and her pronouns, and this is the second session in a game of Songs for the Dusk by Kavita Pajuri. It's a Forged in the Dark game about rebuilding communities after the apocalypse, far after the apocalypse. The game was organized, these sessions were organized through the Gauntlet Gaming Community, which is an online gaming community that organizes and discusses a whole lot of role-playing games with an emphasis on indie and story and OSR type games. And if you want to find out more or come play with us, you can check out gauntlet-rpg.com. So last week, our crew of striders tried to smooth things over with a group of smugglers called Tango Foxtrot. They headed deep into the shadow. They almost befriended a baby dragon who they left behind. Sorry, Klooge. They were able to get what they needed, but things did not go well with Tango Foxtrot, and their friend Jack Garland has ended up in even deeper trouble. So that's where we're at now. Just to let you know, I've adjusted your status with a few of the factions. So your relationship with Tango Foxtrot and the Hand of Cocoon has gone down, and your relationship with the Mistral Research Collective has improved. We're going to start our first downtime phase today. But before we do that, we'll start with introductions. So we'll go around, and if you could tell us you and your characters' names and pronouns and anything else that you want to tell us about them. But also today, I would love for you to tell us just a bit about what your character's morning looks like. When are they waking up? What does their living space look like? Do they live alone with friends or family or something like that? What are they doing first thing in the morning? Those kinds of things to kind of ease us into our downtime. So let's see. I think I kept calling on Agatha first last week, so maybe I'll start with Puckett this week.
Hi there. I am Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Klooge, who uses she, her pronouns and is a, quite twitchy little inventor, scrapper, creator, fixer of things. Um, I believe in the current parlance of our time, she'd be called a maker. Also a doer, also kind of consumed with the idea of having a pet baby dragon right now. So I'm sure that can go no place but good places.
And what does Klooge's morning look like?
Well, the sun starts to rise, and Klooge is in a workshop. And it's pretty obvious that she didn't go to sleep so much as pass out because she's laying on some tools. And as the sun wakes up, as the sun rises, she hears a clatter, bird knocked over, something. And she quickly sits up, alert and awake, and bonks her head on the machine she was working on the night before, which was hanging overhead, rubs her head and says, ah. And you can see the imprints of, like, Allen wrenches and screwdrivers on her cheek. It's probably going to be there for a little bit. You know how it is, like when you fall asleep on your forearm or something like that. There's that nice big red patch when you pull away from it. Yeah, that's basically Klooch right now.
Cool, thank you. Dana, can you tell us about yourself and Savati?
Yeah. Dana pronounced she, her, and I'm playing Sibari, also pronounced she, her. She's the witch, and she's like this synthetic form of being that has electricity over her body and like scars of electricity running around her skin, and she has some elemental powers. And I think she likes to sleep outside. Like I think if we have like this tall place, she will like sleep looking at the stars and like try to feel the elements, and especially if there is a storm or something like that, like she will really love that.
Awesome, thank you. And Agatha.
Hi, I'm Agatha. My pronouns are she, her. I'm playing Rhona, and her pronouns are also she, her. She is the Kestrel playbook. And let's see, her morning is, I think she wakes up very early, maybe before dawn actually breaks. So she gets up and I think makes um makes herself a pot of tea and then sets out a cup for her father who she lives with, and then goes out and makes her round.
Nice. And what does the round look like?
I think, well, I don't really know how defensive Lachlan is, because Lachlan is like surrounded by a lot of these crystal pillars, I guess. Like, I don't even know what to
Yeah.
call them.
Well, did we call them monoliths? I can't quite remember.
Oh, monoliths.
Megaliths.
Megaliths. Okay.
Lots of crystal megaliths.
Yeah, so like I don't know how defensive it is generally, or like is there even like, well, I guess we have our observatory. So maybe,
I mean, I think it's open to you because your character is most closely tied to whatever the defenses of the town are through your
okay.
father in particular. So we haven't really established much about Lachlan. I guess that's going to be one of the goals for today's session. So you're welcome to start telling us about what this looks like, or you're welcome to leave that for now and we can sort of play to find out a bit more.
I think there is definitely at least some like rudimentary, at least that kind of defense around. I don't know if that's in the form of like walls or if it's that this location is just like a little bit hard to get to in general. I guess like these crystal megaliths are, they could be hard to like navigate around, and that is actually like a natural protection for us.
Right.
And in that case, then I think making the rounds involves a lot of like climbing up or like walking up like those really, one that has fallen over a little bit, so it's at an angle, so like jumping onto it and then like walking all the way to the tip, and then like really doing that kind of like Assassin's Creed, like looking around and then seeing everything. And it's probably, there's like 3 different spots that she would go to like look to see that everything is okay.
All right. And she must see the sunrise because she said she was up before dawn. So that sounds like a nice way to start the day.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you all. So just a reminder, we're using a set of safety tools that we've already talked about. So if you need to check the lines and veils, they're in the character keeper. In this game, the first thing that we do each downtime is to create something called a thread. There's a little caption block of text about this in the cheat sheet in the keeper. A thread is a question that we want to use the downtime to explore and flesh out. So it doesn't mean that everything in the downtime has to be about the thread. It's just something that we can kind of keep in mind when we're looking for some orientation or thinking about what to do. If you look at that text about threads in the keeper, there's a pop-up note with some sample thread suggestions. My suggestion for today, because we're just getting started, is that we take it, like start with something fairly broad. I was going to suggest, what is everyday life in Lachlan like? How does that sound to people, or do you have other ideas? Is there anything else about your community that you're excited to explore that we could make into a thread?
I like the idea of just kind of exploring the community and defining what it's like. It ties in with one of my characters. What the heck is that called? The fear. Um, Flipping back over. Kludge is worried that she doesn't exactly fit in the community relationship.
Yeah.
So defining kind of what the community does would be interesting to and intersect well with that. But if somebody else has a better idea, I'm all about it.
Dana, do you have any thoughts?
I like the everyday. I was reading over the examples, but I like the everyday activities of the community. I think it's a cool one.
Cool. Agatha, what about you?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Cool. So after that, we're going to go into the more like sort of mechanical part of upkeep. Of downtime, which is working through some roles to find out what the effects of your mission were. Basically, we're going to be working down the column on the cheat sheet called Upkeep, Pressure, and Entanglements, if you want to follow along there. The first thing we're going to do is roll to see how many shells you score from your mission. So shells being the sort of abstract representation of currency in this game. To figure out how many shells you take home, you're going to roll a dice pool based either on, well, in this case, you did some work for a specific faction. So you're going to roll dice based on the faction's tier. And the Mistral Research Collective is a tier 2 faction. So who would like to roll 2d6 to see how many shells you scored?
I'm down. I
right.
just need to pull
Feeling
up
lucky?
the dice room. When you say that, I feel like now I'm worried.
No.
Okay, 2d6.
So you're going to get shells equal to your highest die. So that's pretty great. That's a 6. So you can choose either to record the shells on the Magpies tab or divide them amongst yourselves. One thing to bear in mind is that the game says that it's impractical to keep more than 4 shells on hand. So if you end up with more than 4, you're going to need to either spend them during the downtime to get it down under 4, or you can invest them in a cache.
Okay.
Reasons to put them in a cache are to help you build foundations. Reasons to spend them, you can get extra downtime activities. You can improve your dice rolls for your downtime activities. Those are probably the main things you'd be spending them on at this point. Unless anyone has a specific idea, for now, I might suggest that we give the magpies 6 shells. And at the end of the downtime, you can spend them during the downtime, you can not spend them, and then we'll figure out at the end what happens to them. I see some nodding heads, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. All right, so I've entered 6 shells on the Magpies tab. The next thing is pressure. With every mission you run, you'll pick up a little more pressure. It's both internal and external. It represents the weight of public attention and expectations from your own community. And you'll see in the cheat sheet, there's a table to work out how much pressure you pick up. You gain pressure based on how much damage you caused. So in this case, it was smooth and simple. There was no collateral damage. So that's a base of 0 pressure. But you also get 1 pressure for each of a well-connected or high-profile target. No. A mission conducted in hostile territory. Do we think the Shatter is hostile territory?
It is, but is that question about hostile factions?
I mean, it's for us to decide really what exactly it refers to. I think either way of reading it would be reasonable. What do you think?
Are there any factions that kind of claim that territory?
So not exactly claim, but we talked about the hand of the Cocoon, who worship a god that is entombed in the shadow. They probably consider it their territory.
It makes sense to me then to say yes to that one. I mean, if it was
Right.
just sort of generally hostile in terms of environment and like, mobs and whatnot, does anybody else have a different? Anybody else think differently?
Right.
I
I
can
think
go either way, so it doesn't.
all right. I mean, you started with 0, so you've got it's not going to be too much pressure regardless. So we're going to give you 1 pressure for hostile territory of the hand of the Cocoon. And if anyone has a vendetta against you, do we think that Tango Foxtrot is at the level of a vendetta? I mean, they're not happy with you.
What are they at, like minus?
-2.
I mean, we got.
I don't think so. Like, I think they don't like us. Like, they really don't like us. But it's not that they have a specific vendetta against us.
Sounds reasonable. Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Cool. Nobody was severely injured or killed, so nobody in your crew was responsible for death or severe injury. So that's going to be a total of 1 pressure. I'll mark that on the Magpies tab. And now we're going to roll for entanglements. So after each score, I should change that to mission. It's one of those leftovers from Anders' character keeper. Generate an entanglement by rolling dice based on your current pressure and checking the highest roll against the table for your current strife. I think this is the 1 dice roll that I make in the game. So you've got 0 pressure at the moment. Oh, wait, you have 1 pressure. So I'm going to roll 1 dice and check it against the 0 strife tab. Okay, that's a 4. Now, bear with me while I look this up. Okay. Harsh weather or a minor natural hazard strikes your community. Lose a foundation until you pay half its cost in shells to repair it. Paying these costs doesn't use up a downtime activity. So, I mean, I think it's got to be the thunderstorms, right? Because we talked about thunderstorms being a feature of the community. The foundations that you have at the moment are the drone constructors and the observatory. It seems to me that it's probably the observatory that's more likely to be damaged by a thunderstorm. What do people think?
Yeah, that makes sense. We have to repair it. Wait, how much does it cost?
Half its cost in shells to repair it. So I think that the observatory, the cost is 2 caches. So you're going to have to basically spend 1 shell to repair it, which is not too onerous, I think.
Do we want to do that? Oh my gosh!
I mean,
Not the
we kind of need it, don't we?
Let's frame a scene and we'll get you to talk in character or with some of the other community about what you're going to do with the observatory. So that's our kind of upkeep phase of downtime. For the rest of downtime, mechanically, you each get 2 downtime activities. Those are listed in the keeper. There's a column for downtime activities. You can also make collect information rolls if there's stuff that you want to find out. Those don't count towards your downtime activities total. But this is also just like space for free role play. So what I'm hoping for today is that we'll just sort of play out some scenes, hopefully let some of them turn into mechanical downtime activities, explore our thread. So, you're all welcome to think about any scenes you'd like to frame in or around town with your anchors or other NPCs or anything like that. But because the observatory has taken such a beating in the storm, I think it makes sense that our first scene is I mean, the three of you certainly meeting in your headquarters, looking up at the damaged remains of the observatory. I don't know. Do we think that the mayor might be here as well? Checking in with you, or maybe someone from the research collective?
Might be both.
Yeah, I mean, I think a few people might have come to check in on you to make sure you're okay, and they see that your headquarters has been damaged. So let's say that Holden's there, and also, let's see, who's come from the research collective? So I think Saffron Brook has come along. I think that's the person who asked you about getting the material last time. The chief technician from the research collective. Quite friendly and quite good at what he does. But yeah, Helden and I already forgot his name. Helden and Saffron are both just looking sadly up at the wrecked observatory and shaking their head. What do you do?
I do think that I would be the last to arrive, because I'm probably going around like helping people repair other things before coming to check on the base.
Okay.
I'll
Is there
volunteer to
anyone-
be first.
All right. So Kluge, so you come in and you see that the thunderstorm has done a number on the observatory. What have we established, like what the observatory actually looks like? I'm picturing one of those big domes with a telescope in it that sort of like goes up and down and rotates. Is that's okay? I'm seeing people nod. So is it that the lens has cracked, or what exactly has happened to your observatory, Kluge?
I mean, if the lens is cracked, we're in real trouble. That's going to take a lot of time. If it's okay, I think it's more mechanical stuff. Like they had the shutter open, and a lot of the machinery got wet, and now is sticking and needs to be unstuck. Got to scrape it, make sure that no rust builds up.
Yeah, fair enough. I think Helden's there already. They're kind of scraping at it awkwardly. You know, they're good at some things to do with the observatory, but maybe this is not exactly their forte. But they'll sort of look up at you and say, "Oh, Kluge, I'm not sure what happened. The thunder last night."
Well, it looks like you left the shutter open. I mean, there's a lot of water in here. And I kind of just gesture up and then gesture at the water, like, how are you not putting this together?
You're right. I should get a mop. Do we have a mop?
Just anything that'll soak up water, like mops. You don't need a mop. And I'll actually kind of pull my shirt, the sleeve down over my hand and kind of wipe at the water and hold it up and say, "See, like anything that will hold water will do."
Helden sort of like picks at their shirt as if they're thinking about taking it off and just considering what a nicely made shirt it is, and then, puts their hands up to say no, they won't be doing that, and they go off to find something that they can use for this. Savati, is this about where you come in?
Yeah, sure. I think Sivadi enters the observatory and notice all this like wet equipment, and she asks Clutch like, "What happened?"
A storm last night. They left the shutter open. Rain comes in through openings. So, yeah, they left the shutter open. It was raining.
I see.
Savati, can you use your elemental powers to help with something like this, or is it just a matter of getting them up?
That was what I was thinking, and like I mean, if you are up to it, I like the idea, but I'm unleash an enormous blast of magical force. It sounds a little bit too much for the situation, so I'm a little bit worried that the flavor doesn't quite make sense.
Like I'm not too worried about what your character sheet says mechanically you can do here. Like one way or another,
Okay.
you're going to clean this space. If you think that your character like that it makes sense that you could do something like this, get rid of the water, then I'm happy for you to narrate that. If you think that your power is more intense and destructive than that, then that's okay too. Um,
I think I can help. Like I think maybe Sibari creates this big. The thing that makes most sense to me is like she creating this big wind current that just like helps to like move the water like outside again and like dry a little bit of the surfaces, and like
mhm.
that's not a big fix and not like removing all the water, but like it's helping a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like takes out the puddles, but still like there's still some cleaning up to do.
Yeah.
Yes, Savati, that was awesome. And I'll hold up my hand for a high five.
I will have five you for sure.
And Rona, is this about where you come in? Narrowly avoiding that big gush of water pouring out as Savati blows it out of the building.
Yeah, I think like I I'm like walking over and then I just like suddenly like jump to the side and then there's just like this current of water and then I like cautiously go in and like looking very worried like oh no there's so much water inside that it's just forming a river now and gushing out and then I'm going in and I see you two high-fiving and I'm like is everything okay?
You should have seen what Savati just did. It was awesome.
It wasn't a big deal. The equipment got really wet, and I just help a little bit with a gust of wind.
It was a big deal, though. I mean, like, it would have taken us a long time to get all the water up before we could start making repairs. Like, just whoosh, and it was gone.
Oh, I see. Good job.
So Saffron will like poke around the telescope a little bit and say, "Look, the good news, the damage isn't too serious, but you are going to need a new mercury microfilament. I can get you one for a shell. What do you say?"
Yes, please.
I'm going to mutter and grumble.
Come on, that's a good price because you're my friends. Anyone else, it would be easily twice that.
I'm gonna go and like rummage in our cache and then bring out a shell, one shell.
All right, I've marked off the shell that you spent. So yeah, Saffron will say, "Look, I reckon I can have this up and running for you again by tonight at the latest. It's not a big job."
Thank you, Saffron.
And so the three of you have some time while you're cleaning up to talk about what your plans are going to be. We know there's been thunderstorm damage across town, so there might be stuff that you want to look into around that, or maybe you have other ideas about what you want to do with your day.
I think while we're cleaning, I will turn to Savati and like because Savati, you like sleep on a tree or something, right?
Yeah, or in a tall place. I don't know if necessarily on a tree, but yeah, I
Okay.
think
Well,
Sibari for sure sleeps on some higher ground.
yeah, I'm gonna turn to you and say, Savati, is your home all right?
That's interesting because I haven't thought about how Sibari's homes looks like. I think she's probably like camping outside or something like that. So it's probably I think she would say to you like, mm, I, there was some trouble with my settlement, but I can manage storms, so it's mostly all right.
Do you need any supplies? Any help?
Mm, I I don't think I need nothing. What about you?
I'm all right. Uh, I'm going around seeing who needs help. So,
That's great. I would like to help you do that.
Kluge,
Yeah, I can help.
where?
But I gotta ask, on a scale of 1 where 1's bad and 10 where 10 is good, where would you rate me getting a pet baby dragon?
Kluge, we talked about this.
I mean, another one, a different one.
There's another one.
If there's one, there should be more.
Oh, that seems very unsafe.
Right, but is it good or bad?
Why do you want a baby dragon? Why can't you just let the baby dragon live where they want and be free?
I mean, I would let it live where it wanted and be free, as long as it was here. Like you can't tell me you wouldn't like to raise a baby dragon.
I just don't understand why you have to go and like, kidnap a dragon and make it your own.
It wouldn't be kidnapping; it'd be rescuing.
From what? Its home?
The Shatter.
But it likes living there. We talked about this.
But I'm talking about a different one. Like hypothetically, there's got to be like another one, right? Maybe it doesn't like the Shatter. Maybe it likes, I don't know, crystals. Lots of things to perch on.
I think we can talk about this when we find this hypothetical dragon. Like, we don't need to discuss this right now.
Fine.
I don't think having a dragon here is a good idea for either us or the dragon.
You can tell that I'm sulking.
All right. Kluge, is your home all right?
Nothing I can't just like fix up with a little bit of, wrenches and a couple of hammers. Just got to bang some stuff into shape. Otherwise, it's fine.
Do you need help?
Do you need to hammer something? Get some stress out? I mean, it's hammering things is good for getting stress out.
Okay. Yeah. And Rhona won't say it or like even acknowledge it, but Rhona is always stressed.
And
So,
so,
like-
sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
So, Rona, do you want to make a collect information roll to see what you found out as you sort of wandered around town?
Sure. Collect information roll.
So,
How does that work again? Sorry.
so you can choose any action that makes sense. It's not an action roll in the sense that you can suffer consequences and things like that. We're just rolling to find out how good the information you get is. If It says for any downtime activity, you get +1d to the roll if a friend or contact helps you. So, I mean, if any of the others sort of come along with you for a walk around town, I guess this technically isn't a downtime activity, but I'm happy for you to take +1d if you bring someone along.
Yeah, I think Savati at the very least is definitely coming with me, right?
For sure.
There's got to be mechanical stuff around that needs to be patched up.
Yeah. We're just this like this trio just like always walking around.
I mean, if you must be getting like a bit of a reputation locally as, people who can build and fix stuff. So I definitely see people as being happy to see you coming at this point. So what are you going to roll with?
I think I'm actually gonna roll with Tune. Because one of the things that you could do is sense danger or hostility. Or I can roll with Trace, which is no. Decipher? I don't know. Like I feel like Decipher is like figuring out a very specific thing, deciphering it, and then I'm not sure if there's one for like generally perceiving perception check.
I mean, I think any of the ones that you've mentioned are close enough that they'll do for now, and I'll double check what the actual rules about this are for later.
Okay. I'll go with Tune just because it so explicitly says like sense danger or hostility, and that is often what Rhona wants to do. Okay, so that's 1, and then plus another die from somebody. Ooh.
Okay, probably not the greatest information. You get bare basics, details may be missing. So I guess what I would like to do is let's go around and each of you like tell us about one thing that you find as you walk around town, because we're trying to flesh out like what Lachlan looks like. What's one thing that you see? Probably something that needs fixing, but maybe just some other example of like what life in Lachlan looks like. Don't forget, there is some details about what Lachlan is like in the Magpies tab in that top left corner if you want to refer back to that. Kluge, can I get you to go first? What do you notice as you wander around?
Well, we've got this water plant, right? And it's like, to make sure we've got fresh water, it will take in water from the the sea that we're on, and it'll kind of desalinate it so we can actually drink it. And a couple of those pumps are broken; they're just not working right now. So I should probably get to work on those.
Cool. Sounds good. Savati, what do you notice?
I think we have these terrace farms, and I think terrace farms are kind of delicate. They really don't take well with these big heavy storms flooding everything. So there's probably a lot of work to do that.
Terrace farms probably not a great choice for a community beset by thunderstorms, but that's okay. Awesome, thank you. I just googled terrace farms to find out what they look like, and it's pretty awesome. And Rhona, what do you notice?
I think there are a lot of vines that crawl up the sides of the crystals, these crystalline megaliths, and I wonder. I think like in the wake of a storm is when all of the holograms that they emit like are dormant, so they don't actually emit anything because they've been like beaten up with rain and lightning and thunder, whatever. So that's the time when they're all like limp and then like dripping with water, but also like you don't see anything as you're going through there, and it's like the town feels different. It's like everything looks different, and you see a lot more of like the way that light reflects off of the crystals and things like that.
Nice. So I think that you are all able to do some work to patch things up to fix some of the stuff that you notice around town. Um, so I might start asking people what downtime activities they want to look at today. Cluj, can I start with you? What would your first downtime activity be?
Let's see.
Or is it useful for us to just talk through briefly what the choices are here? Or yeah,
Probably.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I see some nodding, so we'll do that. So I'm just going to be reading from the downtime activities column in the Keeper. So one thing you can do is acquire an asset, something that you'll have temporary use of. You roll to decide how good the quality of the item is. You can build foundations. That requires you to invest caches equal to the cost of the thing that you're building. The foundations that are open to you are those, what are they called? Prosperity Zero foundations that are listed on the Magpies tab. Each of those in the pop-up note will tell you like what the mechanical benefit is and how many caches it will cost you. You can cut loose, which is when you relieve stress with at least one of the other striders. You run the risk when you do that of overindulging, but that's one of the two main ways that you can clear stress. Oh, something weird has happened to the formatting of this column I see now, so sorry about that. I'll fix that between sessions. You can work on a long-term project. I guess it's reasonably clear what that means. If you want to reduce the pressure level or the strife in your community, you can do something to do that. You only have 1 pressure and 0 strife at the moment, so probably not really something that you'd be looking at today. You can recover if you've suffered harm. I don't think anyone has suffered any harm so far, so again, probably not relevant today. You can train to gain XP. You can unwind, which is a way to relieve stress. I mean, not alone exactly, but with NPCs rather than with other PCs. And there's also just for completeness, there's a downtime activity that I haven't entered yet, which you can use to do magical things, which was too complicated for me to add to the Keeper so far. But also, you haven't met the criteria for it, so you wouldn't have been able to do it today anyway. So those are the kinds of things that you can do as downtime activities. Kluge, do any of those speak to you, or do you have questions about any of them? Or
I'm going to train.
Tell us about that. What does it look like?
I am reading every single thing I can find in our town about dragons.
How much is that, do you think?
Not very much.
Not very much. Is it more like, what sort of material do you think you find? Like, I wonder if it's like biological or like, scientific or magical texts, or is it like fairy tales and children's stories?
It's mostly fairy tales and children's stories. I did stumble across one little pamphlet about dragons that seems to be more magical than not, but mostly it just says stay away from them.
And okay, so what's one interesting thing that you find out, whether it's true or maybe just a fairy tale about dragons that you're excited about?
Curiously enough, dragons like lichen.
Interesting.
Like just, regular old lichen on rocks. Don't know if it's true or not, but, you can bet that next time we head into the Shadow, I will have some lichen with me.
Nice. And so when you train, you mark 1 XP either on an attribute or a playbook advancement. Which attribute or playbook, or is it going to be a playbook XP?
I am going to be marking playbook XP.
Cool. All right. Savadi, Kluge has gone off to read, which I think is a little out of character for Kluge. Is that right, Pocket?
This is
Or is this reasonably
absolutely 100% totally out of character. I mean, if I was like rummaging around in a box with my legs hanging out and kind of kicking, or if I was elbows deep in a machine, that's normal. Me sitting down and quietly reading almost obsessively, that's new. That's different.
All right. So Savati, Kluge is being a bit weird in a different way than normal. Do you deal with that, or do you just want to do one of your downtime activities, or what do you
I
do?
think I would try to like at least talk a little bit to Clutch. Like, it's are you okay? Are you still not over the whole dragon thing?
Did you know that dragons like lichen? Like, that stuff that grows on rocks. Just it grows on rocks, Savati, and they like it.
That's pretty interesting. And
Right? Look at how much lichen we have around here.
do you think that maybe you are getting a little bit obsessed about this whole dragon thing?
I don't know. I mean, how do you really define obsession?
I don't know, Glitch. I think you're like, maybe this thing is getting too deep in your thoughts, and you need to let it go. Maybe.
I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal. How about if you see me starting to head off to the shatter with an empty backpack? That's when I've gone. That's I think at that point in time I might be obsessed. But up to that point, I feel like maybe it's kind of okay. I mean, I'm learning something, right? Learning is good.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, and now if you ever run into a dragon again, they like lichen. So if you give it some lichen, maybe it'll just be friendly with you.
That's pretty good points. I think I'll take it. So you are not actually running to the shadow with an empty bag, right?
Savati, I'm sitting in front of you reading. Like I'm right
Yeah.
here. I mean, how could I be running off to the shatter with an empty backpack when I'm sitting right here in front of you reading?
I mean, maybe it doesn't matter. Like, it's okay. I'm happy if you like are dealing with this in your way, and you're not doing something crazy.
No. I'll tell you what. I'll make you a promise, okay? Okay? Just between you and me. I will come tell you before I go off to the shatter with an empty backpack. Okay? And then if you think that I'm being irrational, you can tell me and we'll talk it out. And because I feel like, I don't know, Rhona might just yell at me. And I understand that. I mean, I do a lot of things, and I probably deserve to get yelled at for a lot of them. But with this, like, I feel like you and I could actually talk about it.
Yeah, Clash. I like it, the dragon too. I know. I'm more on Team Run about where the dragon should be and where is like where is their home.
It was just so cute. Like, it could have rode around on my shoulder with me. Like, if I needed to weld or solder something, I could have just held it up and had like the dragon go poof and had it welded or soldered.
You know there are other pets, right? Like, you can adopt another creature, a more harmless one maybe.
But they're not dragons.
No, there are not.
I mean, they don't fly and breathe fire and stuff.
I understand you, Glitch, but like As long as you're just reading and learning stuff, that's okay.
And who knows? Maybe it'll be useful at some point. You know.
For sure.
But yeah, I think I like dragons, Savati. I think I like them a lot. I don't know why. It was just so cute, laying there going, you know, just sleeping and snoring. It was cute.
So, Savati, what downtime activity are you gonna pursue?
Mm, I was thinking about it. I would really like to start constructive foundations and things like that, but I wasn't sure what foundation to propose.
Mm. Do any of them like appeal to you?
Mm, I really the Lotus Beacon thing seems very like my thing because I like weird magical artifacts. But I was just like going over them and see if there's anything else interesting.
Sorry, which one did you say you're interested in?
The Lotus Beacon.
This
But
hallowed artifact serves as an anchor for quintessent energy and buoys the life force of arcane beings. Take +1d to connect with transcendent forces on site. Costs 3 caches.
I'm always into the supernatural mystical stuff, but I can hear other options. I just want a project to build.
That sounds fun to me.
So if everyone's into that, you can put 3 shells in caches and spend the caches. Do you want to do that? It'll leave 2 shells unspent. Does anyone have any other? Does anyone want to save more than 2 shells for other stuff this time?
Not I.
I think that sounds good.
All right. So I'm gonna mark off that you have put 3 shells into caches and invested those 3 caches into foundations. So what does it say? You're gonna roll an action of your choice, but probably shape is the most commonly used one for constructing a foundation. And then you're going to fill out the clock. Going to make a 4-tick clock for constructing the foundation, and then you roll to see what it looks like. But I guess, tell us a bit about what does the construction look like? What do you actually have to do to build a Lotus beacon? Well, actually, sorry, I noticed that we're coming up on the hour, so maybe we'll take a break and we'll come back and find out about the Lotus beacon. If
Sure,
we come
that's
back
great.
in 10 minutes, is that good for everyone? All right. Everyone ready to continue? Cool. So, Savati, what is involved in constructing a Lotus beacon?
So I was thinking like maybe the storms in this play has some sort of like supernatural essence or something like that. So maybe I was thinking like a sort of lightning rod than when it charges up, like it attracts all this like supernatural activity or this force that we can leverage for that. And I was thinking like maybe Sibadi works in all of this is more like I think like I'm not the best at building that stuff actually, but I'm like the most attuned to sensing where it should be and how it works and like how the forces around like like after the storm last night I can like I see the residual energy and like I can feel like this is a play where it should be.
And So are so you're good at like the part about sensing the location, working the magical aspects, but are you hiring someone else to do the actual building? Is that what the three caches pay for, or what's actually involved in? Didn't
Mm,
you used to be involved in a workers collective before you joined up with these guys? Do I remember that right?
yeah, I was like more of a. I don't think it's work related, but more of a corporation or a thing like that. And so yeah, I'm not so sure about like I don't know what part of these ones like if maybe this is a project Cluj might get interested. So I don't know.
Cool. And whereabouts are you building it? Is it like part of the place outside where you sleep? Is it going to be part of the headquarters? Is it some other dramatic location or
I would like it to be part of the headquarters. I would like it to be like on top of the observatory, and I think like the moment I realize where it should be built is when like I arrive to the observatory and like, oh, I sense all this like energy in there.
I feel like Rhona may have something to say about building a giant magical lightning rod on top of the headquarters.
I do. I I don't approve of it. But
We can
like
do
I'm
it
open to being
somewhere else.
convinced. I'm just like you want to draw all the possible magical energy that's in the air into the spot that is our headquarters, where we have a very expensive observatory.
I'm my thinking is that these forces are already coming here. Like that's why the storm hit the observatory so hard, and like this could actually help like move it a little bit on top and like not exactly over our observatory.
I'm gonna turn to Kluge and be like, "Does that make sense?" Because I don't know.
I'm gonna scratch my head and say, it sounds about right. Besides, where else would you want us to put it? Like, what? On Heldon's megalith? I mean, the energy doesn't get drawn there. Besides, Savati knows what to do with this stuff, right, Savati?
I might need your help, Glitch, in a thing or two, but I have an idea.
I mean, I can move stuff around and put it places, but I mean, you know what you're doing with this. Like, you're not just like inviting a whole bunch of magical energy that's going to like, take us over in our sleep and turn us into, I don't know, zombies or something.
No, for sure, no zombies.
You see, Rhona, it's fine.
When you mention like take over us in our sleep and turn us into zombies, I'm like immediately even more concerned. Let's have it in the megalith right next to this one.
the megalith next door?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of NIMBYism going on with Rhona.
I was just thinking, not in my megalith. Is that Nimble or?
Savati, what do you think about just next door?
I think that's okay, for sure.
All right, a
I
good
don't mind.
compromise. All right, and what action will you roll to work on the construction?
I was thinking like based on what I described, like that tune would make sense, but it could also be shape.
Yeah, I buy that you can do some tuning for something like this. So it's going to be a tune roll with plus 1d if one of the others is helping you. It sounds like Kluge might be. You can also push yourself, but we're not checking like position and effect and stuff for downtime activities.
So, Glitch, are you helping me?
I'm absolutely helping.
That's right. So,
How many dice is that?
3, I believe.
Cool.
Uh,
A 6. Nice. So on a 6, you tick 3 segments of the 4-tick clock. All right. So I've put the clock in our clocks tab. You'll see a spot for current clocks, like the Lotus Beacon, and I've also moved some of the inactive clocks over to the right, just in case you go back to the shatter and we need to pick those up again. I'm not going to, I've deleted the clocks that are no longer relevant. I'm not going to keep everything on there forever.
So a quick question.
Mhm.
When I look at the Magpies tab under Scrapyards, it says when we construct a foundation, fill +1 tick.
Thank you for pointing that out. So I guess that means that you've built your foundation. All right. So when you construct a foundation, you need to either create or assign a community member, an NPC, connected to that foundation. So do you want to either use one of the NPCs we already have, or tell us about the friend or the person who you're going to kind of set up to mind or manage or work with the Lotus Beacon?
who was the owner of the monolith we will building on top?
Well, you can decide that. It could be one of the ones we already know of, like Mamara or Lynn Slade or Erskine, or it could be somebody new.
I think I got that name someone, but I don't remember. Or maybe she didn't. When we were discussing the where to put it, like that,
Oh, I didn't say a specific person. So
I misremember. Sorry.
no, it's all right. You're free to choose whoever you want.
Mm,
If you want to think about it for a minute, we can come back to you.
sure. Yeah. That's,
All right. So, Rhona, you've had to deal with dragon discussion, Lotus Beacon discussion. Where are you at? What are you up to today? And what downtime activity are we heading towards?
I maybe I'll go train too. I kind of wanted to build a foundation, but I wanted us to also invest into our cash. So maybe not this time.
I mean, when you invest into caches, that is like going towards building a foundation eventually, because it's the caches that you spend directly to build foundations.
Got it.
So, I mean,
There's
it's not a downtime activity in itself, but you can just put those 2 shells into the caches and they'll be available for a foundation at some point.
okay.
Was there a foundation you're interested in building?
I was actually we don't have enough anyway. I was looking at terrain maps. That's something that Rhona would be interested in. But
Cool.
it needs 3.
Yeah, for another time maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So, what sort of training would you be doing?
Am I just working out? Is that? I feel like actually, when when the Lotus, what is it called? The Lotus
Beacon.
The Lotus Beacon is being built. I think like I started thinking a lot about these like magical forces that Savati mentioned and like the energy that is surrounding this place. And I'm like, okay, this thing that it's a potential threat, but maybe also a potential resource. I'm not sure. And I'm like spending a lot of time like trying to like sense what it is. Maybe I even ask like Savati for help or advice. Like, how do you usually sense these energies? Like, how can you tell that there's a lot here? What does it feel like? And like, I'm like really working on it.
I like that idea a lot. Like I imagine some like guided meditation or something like that.
Yeah, we're both just like like
Yeah.
sitting there.
Cool. So it sounds like you're probably going to put an XP into an attribute. Is that right?
Yes.
Cool. And how do you feel afterwards?
Mm, I think I feel more stressed.
No.
Because like because now that I'm like feeling more of like the energies that are around here, I'm like getting a glimpse of what Savati means. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so dangerous. Like this, it's so dangerous around here. And that is very stressful for me.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So I'll come back to Cluj and ask about what you're doing and what your other downtime activity is going to be. But also, I just wanted to flag something that I should have mentioned at the start, which is remember, we are going to do like XP at the end of this session as well. So if you want to hit your XP triggers, you might want to think about that as you're deciding what downtime actions or what free roleplay scenes you want to frame. So Cluj, you've probably worked up a sweat helping with the Lotus Beacon. What do you want to do?
Let me check. I'm checking my XP triggers real quick.
Sure.
Okay. What kind of thing can we do as a long-term project?
Oh, well, I guess that's a very wide open question. What sort of thing are you interested in?
So Agatha, if Kluge came to Rhona to talk about a long-term project, what would Rhona suggest that the community needs?
So I guess, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but just to be clear, like my understanding is that project is a very broad term here. Like it doesn't necessarily mean something in the normal sense of the word project. It could be a long-term project to, improve your relationship with a faction, or you could have a long-term project to, I don't know. Like it doesn't. I just wanted to be clear that it's not limited to things that we would describe as projects normally.
Rona's suggestion would be to bolster up our defenses. Oh, like, and maybe one of the suggestions that Rona would give is like we have all of these vines that emit holograms, and if those can be used in some way to like confuse people who are approaching that we want to confuse, that could be useful. But in general, defenses.
I really, really, really like that vine idea. I mean, I think pretty much the moment you say that, Clue just like, "Ooh, good idea," and runs off.
Yeah, Rona just like stares off after her, and it's like, okay, sits back down to like keep meditating and feeling all these chaotic energies.
It's a good thing that you've trained some meditation techniques that seem to produce more stress, but never mind.
So, my long-term project at the moment is going to be working on the holographic vines to transmit images that we want them to transmit to confuse people we want to confuse.
All right. Tell me if this seems fair. I'm inclined to think that that's maybe 2 separate clocks of 4 ticks each, where the first one is like understanding how the vines work, understanding the vines better, and then the second one is not weaponizing, but like putting them to use and building the defenses with them.
That seems totally fair because I figured that was going to be like a 6-tick clock at least. So breaking it up into 2 4-tick clocks like that makes total sense.
All right. So the first step is going to be understanding the holographic vines better. What action would you roll for that?
Good question. Let me flip back over to my character sheet here. Decipher, I think, is the one that makes the most sense because I'm doing research, conducting experiments, analyzing data, figuring things out.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. How many dice do you have for that?
I have 2.
All right. You can push yourself for an extra die if you want to mark 2 stress, or you can get an extra die if anyone else wants to help you out.
I am bounding over to Savati and saying, Savati, tell me everything you know about the vines. Which is probably at least a little reassuring because I'm not talking about dragons.
Yeah, I think this new interest is a better fit.
So would you be willing to help with this?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think Shibari has like a natural affinity for the vines or something like that. I don't think that's her realm of expertise, but I think for sure she will be into experimenting and trying different things.
And I figure having a witch on side can only be helpful because, I mean, they started as plant-ish things, right? They grow.
They're definitely plantish.
Yeah, plant adjacent, All right, so that's 3 dice. What can I do to get more dice?
I think the only other thing you can do, there's a couple of, so you can push yourself, meaning mark 2 stress for an extra die. The other thing to consider is that whenever you're rolling a downtime action, you can spend 1 shell to increase the result by 1 level after you've rolled it. So, for example, from a 4 to 5 to a 6, something like that.
Is there any kind of what is it? A Lotus Gambit?
I don't think that we're supposed to get Lotus Gambits for downtime actions. But surely there is a appealing Lotus Gambit that we could construct around you experimenting with these strange vines with unknown properties. So what have we said the Lotus Gambit would be? That some of the holographic properties of the vines sort of like rub off on you so that you find yourself emitting holograms at unpredictable or inconvenient times.
That's too good to pass up.
All right.
That is absolutely amazing. I thought you were going with they rub off on you and you're actually going to see holograms at inappropriate times, but emitting them is even better. All right, so that's 46.
Cool.
All righty.
Oh no! Yeah, I mean it's not so bad because it's just a long-term project roll, so you can't go backwards or anything. But that is just going to get you 1 segment.
Yeah, I was going to say if we kick it up, how many ticks does it fill? 2.
So it's just going to 1 shell will improve it by 1 tick.
So that'd take it to 4 to 5.
Yeah.
And that means we'd fill in 2 segments on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody object to spending 1 shell?
Nah, go for it.
Okay.
All right. So you and Savati spend a few hours, maybe an afternoon or an evening, experimenting with these vines.
Hmm.
Kluge, what like the hologram that appears that is the like sign that now you're emitting the holograms as well, like it somehow reflects your emotional state or what you're thinking about. What does Savati see like glowing in the air around or over you?
Mm,
Donna, did you have an idea? It sounded like you started to say something.
I was like obviously thinking of dragons. Like you just
Oh,
have a
God.
holographic pet of a dragon.
Yeah, it's got to be that. Like, there's just this, and I obviously, because I'm emitting it, I don't see it. But you see a holographic dragon like kind of fly over my head a little bit and then settle down on my shoulder and curl up with its tail kind of like gently around my neck.
And I mean, I think that because we said that the holograms are like at inappropriate or inconvenient times, it's got to be that you're having this conversation where you're like, yeah, it's so great that I'm working on these vines now. I don't even think about dragons anymore. And then,
Yeah. Just for fun, is Rhona walking by as this happens?
100%. How can I like? Yeah, I hear you say that as I'm walking by, and then I turn around and I see that holographic dragon on your shoulder. And I turn to Savati and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna draw attention to the dragon.
Do you even check to make sure Savati's seeing it so that you're not hallucinating it?
I guess, yeah, like I'm looking at Savati and seeing how Savati is responding.
I think I would like whisper to you, it's a hologram. Don't worry. I think we shouldn't tell Clutch about it.
I nod solemnly.
all right.
I'm gonna walk away.
So, Savati, coming back around to you for your next downtime action, but did you think about which community member is linked to the Lotus Beacon?
I was thinking Marmara makes a lot of sense because she's already associated with the drone constructor that we are probably using for this project, and like she is like she has like this weird supernatural description, so maybe
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that Mamara will manage both or deal with both the very practical, like actual construction equipment, and also the very spiritual Lotus Beacon, which
Yeah,
seems to capture this
she's
group's vibe nicely.
polyphacetic.
Awesome. And so, what are you doing now, or what's your next downtime activity going to be?
Oh, can I keep working on the vine stuff?
I guess
Like,
there's no reason that you can't both work on the same long-term project. So, what do you do to learn more about the vines?
I was
Oh,
thinking
sorry,
like
sorry, just one sec. Puckett, are you okay if Dana works on this project as well?
Absolutely.
Cool. Just wanted to check in.
I was thinking maybe experimenting with my elemental things. Like maybe what does this happen if I poke this thing with a little bit of electricity? What did it happen if like maybe it will react somewhere? And like if we know what makes it react, we can maybe learn how to use it.
Okay, sure. So you're going to roll one of your actions. What action do you think for this? I think tune probably makes sense, but
Yeah,
open to something else.
yeah, tune for sure. Tune is very convenient to me, so.
All right, and I assume that Kluge will probably be helping you with this as well
I'm absolutely willing to help.
for plus 1D. So do you want to roll 3 dice, or do you want to push yourself, or what are you thinking?
I think running 3 dice is okay.
You don't want to be emitting holographic thoughts?
I think we're good with one baby dragon.
So 4. So that'll tick off 2 segments. That'll complete your experiments with the vines. So tell me about like what you learn about the vines.
Mm,
You
I
figure out
think
some sort of way. Oh, sorry, go on.
I think maybe the holograms are like a way of self defense, so they can maybe sense incoming danger. So maybe we learn that like what sort of stimuli makes them sense incoming danger. Maybe it's a, a big storm. Maybe it's like something like agitating the stuff around. So
And also, it seems like electrical impulses can produce them, so that's convenient
maybe.
for building around them. All right, cool. So coming back around to Rhona, what are you up to, and what's your second downtime activity going to be?
Oh, maybe I should start a long-term project too. That seems so fun.
Huh.
Yeah, maybe. Linslade, Rust Devils. What is Lynn's relationship with the Rust Devils again?
That is a good question. Does anyone remember what we said about Lynn's relationship with the Rust Devils?
Let me see if I've got anything in my notes.
I don't know that we have defined the relationships all that much.
Okay.
I think maybe, yeah, she's just had to deal with them for whatever it is that she's been working on.
Okay. And the Rust Devils are...
They're into protection rackets. They're based in the Meridian Valley.
And they like us. Oh, right, because we like fix things that they want to be fixed.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, okay. Hmm. Actually, you know what? What I'm gonna do is, I'm worried about the hand of the cocoon not liking us. And is it possible for me to like start a project where I'm trying to find out more about... I don't know if I want to get back into their good graces. The hand of the cocoon. Servants of a spirit dating back to the cataclysm who enact the changes of Pine Lock that she herself cannot. Wow, I'm really stuck. Sorry. Maybe come back to me.
Okay. All right. I mean, another option could be just to make a collect information roll to see what you can find out about the hand of the cocoon, and then that might help you decide something.
I like to do that. And the way that I'm doing it is I'm gonna go and spy on them. On members. So while Kluge and Savati are like experimenting with vines, I'm off. So that.
So
I'm
what action would you roll for that?
I'm gonna roll with Trace.
Cool. And it sounds like you've gone off by yourself, so probably you're not getting help from any of the others.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it doesn't. I can also get help from like an NPC, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I might. I'll ask Erskine to help me.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's Erskine's deal?
Um,
Why Erskine?
they're really good at fighting. So if anything happens, I'm not very strong. So I think it's good to have backup.
Okay. And like, what is Erskine part of the community defense league kind of thing that you lead, or why is Erskine just going to wander off with you to spy on these
I think
strange and
so.
terrifying figures? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're a part of like this loose militia coalition thing.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, so that'll get you an extra die.
Sweet.
You can also push yourself if you want.
Nah, I won't do that. I think this should be fine. Three dice. It's plenty for gathering information.
5. Cool. So on a 5 to collect information, you get good details and you can ask clarifying and follow-up questions. So let's see. I'm going to be giving you some information just from the PDF. So the hand serves the interest of the cocooned lady, a spirit shrouded in a silken cocoon hidden in the Shadow's elaborate cave system. It was founded by an ancient synth known only as Shawl, who leads the organization to this day. Not quite sure how you figure this out from watching them, but I guess like between you and Erskine, like watching them talking, eavesdropping, things like that, you're able to put some of this together. The cocoon's hands are blessed with a synthetic symbiote that can produce long, tough strands of webbing, a little bit Spider-Man-ish, akin to the silk manufactured by spiders, and colonies of these symbiotic organisms line the caverns of the Lady's Refuge in the Shadow, or so they say. But I think that the main thing that you figure out, so there's got to be a scene where you and Erskine are like hunkered down behind some rocks or something, and this like clutch of hands are just like bantering amongst themselves, and what you hear from them is that after a century of slumber, the cocooned lady is finally ready to emerge from her chrysalis, and when she is free, she will enact her beautiful and precise purpose. And then they have a bit of an argument. Is the lady in this cocoon because she wanted a refuge to prepare and get ready, or is she in the cocoon because someone imprisoned her there to keep her away from society, to keep her away from Tamaris? But the hands are looking for something. That's what they're out for. The hands are hunting for a blade sharp enough or a power hot enough to cut through the silk that keeps the lady from this world. And then after that, they just degenerate into drunken banter and jokes.
I love that. But the blade, we seek the blade. Oh, amazing.
And so you can ask clarifying or follow-up questions if you want.
Where have they been looking for this blade?
Yeah, good question. So at this point, they're mostly looking at the Moonrise Market, which is over, I think, to the west in Pine Lock. It's a kind of big black market that has lots of strange things, powerful things, strange artifacts and things like that. So it's a combination of like trying to find something there and trying to find something that they could trade for something that would work. So they're spread out all across Pine Lock trying to find something that will work.
Cool. I feel like with this knowledge, Rhona is gonna actually like maybe discuss with Lynn, because Lynn seems to be the one who's like good at dealing with other organizations that may or may not have started off hostile. And it's like, so I think Rona would actually go to Lynn for advice. Like, what should we do about this?
Um, yeah. So, what do we know about Lynn? She has exceptional tailoring and calculating eyes. I think that she's like a prominent figure in the community, but we haven't really defined her role, I think. Is that right? Um, so I think that Lynn, I mean, what would Lynn say? So you ask her what we should do about this, and she thinks deeply. She says, well, I don't think that we can stop them finding something sooner or later that will rupture the cocoon. We don't really know anything about the lady, do we? She's from before my time for sure. If there was a way to find out more about her, then I mean that would help us a lot. But I mean, what can we do for now except, I mean, exactly what you've been trying to do: buttress our defenses and prepare for whatever might come.
Okay. Thank you, Lynn.
Well, thank you, Rhona. I appreciate the care that you're showing for the community. I hope that we'll be ready for whatever comes of this.
I will make sure that we're ready. I feel like do some kind of like a salute thing. That seems like a Rona thing to do.
Then we'll return your salute with a kind of appraising look, as if she's trying to decide if she believes that you will be able to deliver this promise or not.
Fair. Okay. And I will start a project. And the long-term project is I'm going to research into this lady.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that you're trying to find out?
Yeah, I'm trying to find out what she wants to do once she is free.
All right.
Discover her purpose.
Cool. I think that's pretty obscure knowledge, so I'm inclined to make it an 8-tick clock, but does that seem too harsh? What do you think?
No, I think that's fine.
All right.
It does seem like it would be a very difficult thing to like find out, so
all right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. So how do you go about it?
Oh my gosh. Maybe I start like reading as well. Which is not my strong suit.
What sort of text do you think you turn to? Is it going to be like fairy tales and legends as well, or?
I think so. I think that's kind of like where I'm starting with, so that I get a general idea. And then once I have general ideas, I'm going to go and start like doing more stalking.
Cool.
But not currently.
That makes sense. What action do you want to roll for that?
I'm pretty sure that's a decipher roll. So
yeah, that makes sense. How many dice do you have in decipher?
I have 0.
All right. Do you want to push yourself or get some help here?
Yeah. I'm gonna ask Kluge, like, hey Kluge, you've been reading a lot recently. How do you read when you don't like reading?
Mm, what if you look at the book like it's mean I'm doing something you think is dangerous or poorly considered?
That seems very stressful.
Mm, yeah. What do you like looking at?
I like looking at the sunrise.
Okay. What else?
I like looking at the people that live here in Lachlan.
Okay. And what else?
I like looking at my food.
Okay. What are you trying to research? Because I assume you're not talking about like reading for fun.
No.
Okay. So, are you trying to research?
You have to keep this a secret.
Rhona, who would believe me? Who would believe me if I said anything? Honestly, I run around talking
You
about dragons all day.
and I'm like glancing at the the hologram that's on your shoulder. Right. You need to keep this a secret in your mind and not think about it. Can you do that?
So is this one of those things that I should just forget after we finish the conversation?
Yes.
I can
Or
totally do that because I'm so busy with the vines right now.
and my eyes dart again to the dragon that's on your shoulder, maybe like blowing a little bubble. Well, all right. You might need to get involved later, anyways. You and Savati both. So I should just tell you. But
Ooh.
don't talk to other people about it until it's time, okay?
So don't talk to any. Can I talk to Savati about it or no? I mean, just
Yeah.
okay. Because I was going to say I'm probably not going to want to talk to Savati about it, but just like if something slips. But anybody else, like I won't say anything to anybody else until you say it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm researching. You know how the hand of the cocoon, they really don't like us?
Especially after we went out into the shatter.
Yeah. I was a little worried about what they might do.
Okay.
So I went and listened in on some of their conversations.
And you didn't
And it
invite
seems
me?
like, well, you're busy with gesture to the vines.
But I like eavesdropping.
Yes, but you're not always good at it.
Fair. So you were eavesdropping.
I was gathering information and
Do you call it intel?
yes. They definitely want to free this lady that they are serving, and I need to know what the lady wants to do once she's freed,
Okay.
because they don't like us, and if it's something bad, that will definitely impact us.
So how can you read this without getting stressed out? Is that's what you want to know?
Yes.
I gotta be honest, reading something like that for that reason would stress me out. So I guess in this case, once you find something that you can read that'll give you the information you want, maybe have your favorite food, like cooking in a pot on the stove or something like that while you read it, so you know there's something good coming after it, but you can't eat it till you finish your reading.
That's pretty smart.
It's just it's a reward mechanism. I mean, we respond to what is it? We respond to good stimuli and poorly to negative stimuli. So if you know that there's a reward waiting at the end of it, I mean, it should be a little bit easier for you to do.
You're very smart, Klooch.
Sometimes
Sometimes.
I get excited about things. I can't help it.
That's all right. We'll be here to hold you back if it's needed.
I appreciate that, Rhona. You know,
Yeah.
there's times I think that you don't like me very much, but then there's times like this where it seems like you actually think of me as an actual person. And I really like these times.
Klooch, you're a part of Lachlan. And in Lachlan, we take care of each other.
Yeah. I guess thank you for letting me help you take care of you, then.
Thank you for taking care of me that I've let you to do.
Okay. And I'll go back to the tinkering with the vines and stuff like that.
Oh, Shane, you're muted.
Sorry, I muted because there was some loud noise outside. So I think you're rolling with one die now.
Heck
Is that right?
yeah.
Do you want to Lotus
powerful.
Gambit
Oh.
or push yourself or anything like that?
Ooh, I'd be down to hear a Lotus Gambit.
I mean, I'm not sure what the Lotus Gambit would be for book research. I guess the Lotus Gambit that springs to mind is that regardless of the outcome of the roll, the whatever the lady wants is tied to you personally.
That's fun.
What? That's so amazing. I have to take it.
Okay. Because I was thinking about a clock about, like a tick on the clock for when they managed to get the figure out how to wake the lady up.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
But I mean, now that you've come up with, it being personally tied to Rhona, that's just way too good to pass up.
That's so good. Amazing. All right. I have 2 dice now.
5. Nice. So on a 5, how many ticks do you get? You get 2 segments on the clock.
Ooh.
You want to spend a shell? Kick it up to 3?
How do we all feel about spending another shell?
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, then I will do that.
3
No
ticks.
cash. Just research.
Cool. So we're at the top of the hour here, so let's take a short break. Can we make it 10 minutes again? And we'll come back and probably start planning the next mission.
Like I said in the side chat, these gambits are so good this week.
Thank
I mean,
you.
it's not that they were bad last week or anything like that, but it's just like, I mean, I'm emitting holograms. Rhona's somehow tied in with the lady. It's just...
Yeah, I'm looking forward to figuring out how these things become problems for you all at some point.
I mean, I can tell you one way it could be a problem. Like if
Go
I
on.
happen to go into the shatter and there's a dragon and the dragon sees a holographic baby dragon around me, that I don't know how that's going to go. Can you
Yeah.
explain holograms to a dragon?
Well, I guess that's something that remains to be seen.
Play to find out.
Mhm. All right. So everyone has had their two what do you call it? Downtime actions. So we're probably going to move out of downtime, but if there's any other scenes that you wanted to play out before we start planning the next mission, we can do that as well. Did anyone have a scene that they'd like to play before we talk about what the next mission will be?
Yeah, I would love to have a scene with like all three of us to like I'm just mostly curious as to what Savati's response is to Rhona's actually pretty dangerous like plan to like research and find out what uh what what hand the hand of the cocoon are doing. Yeah.
So you tell Savati about it?
I mean, I assume that when Kluge, like after the conversation, well, okay, Rona assumes that after the conversation, Kluge would tell Savati, but does this actually happen?
I don't think so. Now, I'm not sure if it's intentional or just because I forgot to mention it, or just because I forgot it because I was, focused on vines at the moment. But I don't think I actually did tell Savati.
Okay, so I think I'll probably like call the both of you over to have dinner um, at my place because I'm stress cooking. And I find it a very effective stress reliever. But now I have all this food and I need to have people to eat it. So like, yeah, when you both come, there's just like so much food.
I just look around and it's like, Rhona, did you get anything done today, or did you just cook?
I read.
Oh, so it worked?
Yes, but now I have too much food.
Why is that a problem?
I can't eat it all, nor can my father.
Okay. Should we like invite more people over?
You two should eat.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Is this bowl food or plate food?
Eat it however. Wait, is this like a? Are you actually asking like what kind of food? Did
Yeah,
Rhona
is it
make?
food that I put in a bowl, or is it food that I put on a plate?
Ah, I think there are a lot of stews because this is a very cold place.
Bowl food. Okay, got it. And I'll grab a bowl and start ladling stuff into it.
Yeah, and like I'll also like give you a bowl of food, Savati.
Thank you for this food, Rhona.
Do you know anything about the hand of the cocoon?
I may have heard a few rumors or things like that, but not anything for certain.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll be counting on you to keep your ears open to when people talk about it as well.
Do you think we are gonna have problems with them soon?
Wait, Kluch didn't talk to you about it?
I look at Clutch. I imagine she's eating something.
Oh, like I'm probably standing over a pot, just like shoveling food into my mouth. I'm eating like I haven't eaten in 3 days.
Right. Well, I'm researching into the hand of the cocoon because they don't like us, and I need to know what they're going to do, what they might do.
Mhm. That seems wise, but how are you researching them?
Reading. I'll like show you the book of fairy tales.
Oh, this is interesting.
It doesn't have a lot of concrete information.
Yeah, I don't imagine like this is very factual and accurate data.
I'm probably going to go and do more spying soon. So, just so you know.
Aren't the hand of the cocoon like in the shadow?
Yes.
So are you going spying to the shadow?
Why are you asking?
It sounds dangerous.
Probably. No. It will be, yes.
Hmm. So, do you think this model may cause some troubles? Like if we go back again and they see us, maybe like we end up causing more trouble that we wanted to prevent?
I was going to go by myself.
I mean, if you think that's wise,
Did I hear
sure,
you
but
say you're going to go by yourself?
Why did you stop eating?
Because you said you were going to go by yourself.
Yes.
No, you're going to take us with you. We're a team, right? That's what teams do.
But it'll be dangerous.
Ron, I've been obsessed with having a pet dragon for days. Is it
That
going to be more dangerous than that?
that makes me want to take you with me even less since I'm going to the shatter.
Okay, what if I promise to only come back with a pet dragon if it lands on me? And what are the odds of that happening, right?
Klooch, you really like gambling.
I prefer to think of it as taking calculated risks.
Promise me that you will not bring back a dragon.
I promise I will not bring back a dragon unless it follows me. I can't help it if a dragon follows me, can I?
I I think this is good enough for now, Rona. We should accept this.
Fine.
But yeah, I agree with Klish. We should be with you. Like we we can be useful. We can help you.
Also, we can absorb bullets if you get shot at.
No, that's not funny, Klooch. But
It was a little funny.
thank you, both of you.
So does that lead us into thinking about what the next mission might be?
I think so.
Well, I don't. I think the mission's pretty much defined that we're going to go spy.
So I guess like when I think about what the mission will actually be, we have the long-term plan to find out about the cocooned lady. So that's probably not the mission itself. So like obviously it's fine to have a mission that's about spying on the hand of the cocoon, but I guess I want to think about what your goal would be if it's not actually finding out more about the lady specifically. Maybe it's to steal resources from them so they to weaken their position. Maybe it's to understand the scale of the hand of the cocoon or something, like to learn something other than what the lady's intentions are. I mean, if you want, it can be to attack one of their bases or something like that. But I think we're probably not quite at that point.
I was wondering, would stealing their research on the lady, would that be a mission, or would that still tie in too closely to the long-term project?
I mean, I'm happy with that as a bit of fiction. I just think that it's not going to
Okay.
mechanically get you closer to it,
Sure.
because that is tied to the long-term project.
Well, based on Rhona's reading so far, what if we go steal resources that they need for whatever it is they're planning to do with the lady, just
So the
to slow them down?
Yeah. So the mission is to rob the hand of the cocoon. I love this. It has real Omar from The Wire vibes for me. Like we rob the bad guys. Okay. Is everyone happy with that? Savati, are you happy in the robbing the hand of the cocoon plan? All right.
Yeah.
So looking at the planning, the mission flashbacks and information column in the Keeper on the cheat sheet, you need to choose a type of plan and a detail. So I think for this, it's got to be either deception, stealth, or social. I mean, it could be battle. But what do you think? What's your approach to this robbery going to be? Are you going to pretend to be part of the cult to get inside, or are you going to sneak in? Are you going to blow them up? What does it look like?
I think it's gonna be stealth, because I'm pretty sure that was what Rhona was sneaking in.
Yep. Is everyone happy with that? The plan is to get in and out without anyone noticing?
Yep.
All right. So there's a question about the point of infiltration. So let's just think about what the place that you're robbing is first. So I'm imagining that the hand of the cocoon has bases, certainly all over Pine Lock in lots of different places. Their main bases are going to be in or around the Shatter, but maybe you probably can deal more damage to them if you attack those key bases, but maybe it's a little bit easier to sneak in and out if you go to one of the more remote locations. Where do you see this happening?
Let me take a look at the map again.
Something I'd be thinking about is hitting a location that's farther away from where we are. So when we're looking at the Shatter, maybe
they're based all the way down in Ironwood Harbour.
Whoa. Wow. That is very far. like the
it doesn't have
opposite.
to be. I'm just asking.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Let's do it.
All right, so you're going to head to the big city to break into the Hand of the Cocoon's little spot there, their base. So the question that we need to define is about the point of infiltration. So I guess we want to clarify a little more, like, what does their base look like there? So it is a big city. It's quite bustling. Is it like a warehouse on the port? Is it an office building? Is it some sort of compound, apartment building like the Raid? Where do you think the Hand is based in Ironwood Harbour? Savati, do you have a thought? Sorry, I'm just picking on you because you've been quiet for a little while.
I'm not sure. I was thinking like like uh, uh like some sort of like spiritual resonance place, like a ruin or something like that.
Hmm. Some ruins in the city that they're based around.
Yeah, I was imagining something like that, like an old place with some weird or like technology.
Yeah, I mean, when you say like ruins in the city, the only point of reference I can think of is like when you go to Rome and you can go to like the Colosseum or the Forum or something like that. Is
That
that
would be
kind of
great.
what we're imagining?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that sounds cool to me. Does that sound good for everyone? That's where the Hand is based in Ironwood Harbour. And so, what is your point of infiltration of these ruins? Um, how are you going to sneak in?
I guess that depends on if the ruins are above or underground.
I think
Like,
they must be both, right? There's got to be some catacombs, maybe a way in through the sewers or something like that, but also some parts that are above ground.
let's do a classic sneak in question mark through the sewers.
Gonna sneak
John
through the
Wick
sewers.
2.
All right. Everyone happy with that? You're going to sneak in through the sewers to rob the Hand of the Cocoon in Ironwood Harbour.
Suddenly, this went from a game of Songs of the Dusk to just blades.
That's okay. All right. So the plan is set. So you're going to make an engagement roll to see how well you do on your way to the first serious obstacle. The engagement roll starts with 1d for sheer luck, plus 1d for each major advantage, and minus 1d for each major disadvantage. Is the plan particularly bold and daring?
I feel like that's a yeah.
Yeah, I buy that. So that's 2. Is the plan overly complex or contingent on many factors?
I think we could actually argue yeah. Because we're sneaking in, so if this thing goes pear-shaped, then it's going to get real complicated real quick.
Okay, so that'll take you back down to 1 dice. Is the plan particularly effective at accomplishing the goal or exploiting a major weakness? I would say an entrance through the sewers and the catacombs is probably a major weakness for your like secretive cult, so I buy that. Back up to +2, back up to 2. That means the plan is not particularly ineffective. The target is not strong against this approach. Can a friend, contact, or community member help with this mission?
Can we drag Jack into this somehow?
Isn't Jack in enough trouble already? How are you going to drag Jack into this?
Because Jack's in enough trouble already. Like, Jack has to have done something to piss somebody off enough that they would like try to get him if he was in the city, right?
Okay, so Tango Foxtrot certainly has a problem with Jack. I'm not quite sure how that helps with your plan, though.
I mean, if somehow word gets around that Jack is hanging around these ruins or wandering through them or talking to the hand, Tango Foxtrot might attack or go in to try to grab him or generally mess with him.
So the idea is to create a distraction by putting out the word that Jack has basically joined the hand of the Cocoon, so that Tango Foxtrot will intervene dramatically.
I mean, he doesn't actually have to be there.
What is it? What do Rhona and Savati think about using Jack's name and reputation this way?
I mean, okay, I just need to know, like, is Jack in on this?
Could be. We could tell him that we need a favor
Because-
and he needs to do this.
Okay, yeah, because I think if the plan is to get him involved without telling him, then Rona would not agree.
Yeah.
But if it was like, okay, we're gonna discuss that we need this and for the good of the community.
I mean, I don't want to dangle him out there as bait without telling him that he's bait.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem fair.
Every bait has the right to know. Yeah, as long as he knows, I guess that's that we could do.
Okay.
Donna, are you okay with that?
All right. So that's up to 3 dice. If a rival or enemy is a rival or enemy interfering with the operation, well, not exactly interfering, hopefully dramatically intervening, but I don't think you lose a dice for interference. Are there any other elements to consider, such as differences in tier? I think you probably do lose a dice because the hand is a higher tier than you by a couple. So that's going to leave you at 2 dice for this engagement roll. I don't remember who rolled the engagement roll last time. It was you? Okay.
I think I was.
Wait, 2 of you are saying it was you? All right, then I'm going to get Puckett to make the engagement roll this time.
I was going to say I feel like Rhona should be making the roll since it's Rhona's, kind of plot.
I did
I
make
agree.
a lot of rolls today, though. So,
Oh, God. Donna, do you want to do it?
Hang
I don't
on,
want to have a bad engagement roll and have people blame it on
I'm,
me.
I'm,
I'm going to
I'm
roll
100% sure I did the previous one.
All right, I'm going to roll 1d3, and I'm just going to tell one of you to make the roll.
I'll just-
amazing.
All right, 3. That is Savati is making another engagement roll, or possibly, if you disagree, a first engagement roll.
Okay. How many dice were we
2.
getting?
2d6. Three. You start in a desperate position. Yeah. So, I think it's a little early, but it would be good for me if we finish up here and then we can just jump into the mission next time. I will stop the recording and then just ask a round of stars and wishes, if that's okay.
Great.